All right, back at it with the power sharp. I didn't show much detail when I sharpened it in the previous video because frankly I didn't know what was actually going on. It's hard to tell when everything's covered in oil and sawdust. What I've done is I cleaned the chain right up. I've just sharpened it again. I went around and I marked everything with a yellow paint pen so I can actually tell you what's happening. So in case you haven't seen this before, it's a very odd cutter design. That's it from the outside. That's our side plate coming up. Our top plate is this weird flat section. If we look at it from the inside, I'll zoom right in. You can see it is a very odd looking chain. The other strange features on this is it runs a double depth gauge, as in they're side by side. This has to be due to the width of that tooth. The way it cuts is strange and it needs that stability from the extra one there. For a safety link, it runs a extra one here. So when you sharpen it, it sharpens the whole width across this top plate. It does adjust the depth gauges at the same time. You can see they're bright and shiny. It also gets part of the side plate, which is something that I wasn't sure if it could do or not. It hasn't got them very well, but it has got the upper section. I had put paint on them and it's wiped it off on most of the teeth. Some of them still have some yellow on them, but you can see it has cleared it off. As best as I can tell, the reason for this has to do with the way it eats away at the stone. So when we open that up, it's got the stone that's replaceable. You're meant to replace the stone with every chain. Went around and wiped this with some degreaser so it's a bit cleaner. What it's starting to do is form a ridge. So it's not flat in the bottom there anymore. It's starting to eat in. What appears to happen is the top plates will wear that ridge down and the side plate gets done on the outside edge of that lip that it creates. I'm going to guess by the end of this, there'll be quite a deep hole in that. I've also noticed that it's wearing one side of it more than the other. I believe that to be the top side, and this doesn't appear to have an up and a down. You can flip that. So you'll probably get a bit more life out of the stone by doing that. When it sits inside, that's what happens. When you make contact with it, it pushes up into there. If we zoom right in, you can see it hits against the top plate and a depth gauge. So that's how it's being able to adjust both. At different points in the arc, the cutter sits in a different position, and that's how it's able to give you the differential height between the two. So that's actually what's occurring with it. So yeah, that's the basics on sharpening it, what's actually occurring when you're going around. Seems to be doing all right. Basic overrun, it's holding an edge pretty well. It is touchy to input, so it will change direction quite a lot. You need to be careful that you're not torquing the saw sideways, especially on something like this where it runs one little bar spike and often it's not sitting straight on the wood. It will cut off to the side a bit. The kerf it cuts is very narrow and I'm having problems with it getting caught up in some types of bark, but this is pretty limited to only certain applications. Still don't like the bar. Overall, it's too long for the saw in my opinion. And this nose radius is extremely small. It just feels a bit flimsy and I don't really like it. But it was the only size I could get in it. I'll keep working with it. I'll try and keep people updated. It seems to be quite popular for some reason. I don't know why. I think just because it's so unique. Another thing I should point out, this is probably the worst chain to handle out of any chain that I have. It gets that really sort of cat claw type sharp. It just wants to stick to you more than any other type of chain. It also appears to adjust the top of this safety link when it gets sharpened. But yeah, we'll just leave it at that and I'll keep going with it and I'll keep updating it as I learn more.